What's up guys? Welcome back. I am Swan. In this video I'm going to talk about JavaScript forEach loop, which is an array method or a higher order functions. What is a higher order functions? Higher order functions are functions that operate on the other functions, either by taking them as an argument or by returning them. In simple words, a higher order function is a function that receives a function as an argument or returns the function as output. forEach is a JavaScript array method. It is used to execute a function on each item in an array. Let's create an array. So const width equal to cherry, apple, melon. Next one should be mango and orange. Let's try to log these elements from the array with a normal for loop. So for let I equal to 0, then I smaller than width dot length I plus plus, and console.log width I. So we got cherry, apple, melon, mango, and orange. Let's do this with the forEach method. forEach, an arrow function, and console.log element. Yes, we got the same. Now element from forEach. The difference between the two loops is that the for loop has access to the index of the array, but forEach has access directly to the element, so the array element. Now I can clear this up because we're returning just one element. We don't need that. Then we don't need this either, and this should be done the same. Yes, it's done the same. How clearer is to use a forEach in this situation than to use the for loop. The forEach method accepts a callback function. This is a function passed into another function as an argument. Callback functions are executed inside the functions. The callback function syntax can be an arrow function. So this is a callback function, and we used in this case an arrow function. Or we can use the inline callback functions, because I paste this in. So in this case, we're declaring the inline function straight inside in the forEach. So this is the inline callback function. Or simply, we just do a callback function. So when you calling directly the callback function, and the callback function is get created in the top. So like function callback function. Let's comment this out. Now in the forEach method, the first parameter is a callback function which is execute on each element. So this is a callback function, or we have the optional this argument, the value to use when executing callback functions. So I will give you an example on the end about the this argument. So callback functions is invoked with three arguments. The first one is element, which is the current element being processed in the array. The second is the index of the element in the array. And the third one is the array where forEach was called. So let's create a function. Let log function equal to a function. And we need the three arguments, which is the element. The second one is the index, and the third one is the array. And I wanted to console.log. I use the template literal. The element is located at index from this array. Okay, and let's use the forEach array forEach and log function. There we go. The cherry is located at index 0 from this array. Index 0, index 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you know what? I take this off and let's log in console.log the forEach. It's simple like that, and we can see clearly. So the cherry is located at index 0, apple is 1, melon is So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's comment this out. Another example, const numbers equal to 12, 37, 13, and 67. Could be any number. And numbers dot for each, and let's create a function multiply function, and let's create the function down here, function multiply function, which is takes the element, index, and the array. So let's have access to the array, the index equal to the element multiplied by 10, and console.log numbers. There you go, we just got multiplied. 12 multiplied by 10, 120, that's 370, 130. So this is another way. Right now we're accessing directly, we're telling which element we want, because we got the array, we got the index, and we got the element. Okay, so let's do another example. This will be modifying an array during iteration. So let's declare a variable const words equal to 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here let's call the forEach words dot forEach on the words array, and this time we're going to take the two argument. One of them is the element, which is a word, and the other one is the index. I use an arrow function, and if word equal to 2, if word equal to 2, then I want to delete the first element from the words array. So how I can do that? Just call the method words dot shift, and that's it. And if I console.log the word here, we got 1, 2, and 4. And if I console.log the original array words, we got 2, 3, 4. Now how is it possible this? Let me explain you. So if I do console.log word with the index, then we can get 0, 1, 2. I want to console.log words plus index. So let's go through the iteration. The first iteration, when we go to the forEach, the first word, the first element will be number 1, which is in the location 0. Then the whole array we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it was the first iteration. The second iteration, when we reach number 2, we coming in and we have an if statement. If word equal to 2, which is true, then the word shift. So in this iteration, when it's 2, which is number 1, we print it, because first we printed it. We're shifting the array, so we're taking off the first element. Because we took off the first element, number 1, now we have a new array, which is 0, 1, 2. So the whole indexes got changed. But the next iteration, we got the 0, we got the none, 1. The next iteration will be 2. So the next index, the next iteration, when in forEach we're reaching 2, in the array we got number 4. So we skip the number 3. And we reach number 4, we print that on, and we have 2, 3, 4. This is why we got printed 1, 2, and 4, and the arrays get modified to 2, 3, and 4. I hope this makes sense. And so basically we modified the array during the iteration, and because the arrays get changed, we skip the word 3. Now let's see an example for this argument. For the next example, I'm going to use the MD and web documentation, and using this argument, the following example updates an object's properties from each entry in the array. So let's copy this and paste this here, and we got number 3 and 16. Now here it's how this is work. So this is an example for the forEach when you have a this argument. This is optional, so you don't have to. Now we're creating a class with a constructor, and you have the key value pair as a sum and a count. Originally it is 0, and when you're calling down here, we're creating an add method. So we're creating the new object, then we calling the add method with this array, which is 2, 5, 9, 18. We're placing in this array here. Then on the array, we're calling the forEach method. We're calling the forEach function, which is take a function. Now this is going to point to the object sum. So this dot sum, and what we're doing here is a sum. So we adding together. So when we have the entry, the first one, let me call this, I don't know why entry, element, and change this to element. This is what we got used to it. And I want to see the index as well. So let's console.log the element index. So the first element, we got the number 2, which is in the index 0. Second element 5, 9, so on, so on. Here, I want to make a console.log just a line break so we can know this is a new one. Let me do a line break. So this is the console.log from inside in the element, and this one is add together. So the sum is always reassigning. So the first sum will be number 2, then 2 plus 5, 7 plus 9, 16 plus 18 is 34. The second one will be the count, every single time iterating 1. So starting with 0, and when we reach this 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope this will make sense and understandable. Stay tuned for the next higher array function. Thank you, and see you with the next one. Bye.